Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Whatever it is, I'm so glad you're here. Alright, so we're doing something a little different today, and we're talking books. And one of my 2024 resolutions was to get back into reading. I've always been a big reader, but I always say there's so much to watch, there's so much to read, there's so much to listen to, there's just so much that one of the things I wanted to do this year was read more and watch less. And I think I've done a pretty good job. But anyway, what I'm going to do in this video today is talk about some of the books I've read. I'm kind of following the structure of like the mid-year book tag questions. But it is October 16th, so it's more of like a 3/4 of the way through the year tag. So, I'm just gonna jump right in. I have all my notes on my phone, and I'm going to start with the best book I've read in 2024. I also want to say before I get started, not all of these are published in 2024, but I read them in 2024. So they could be older, but they're new to me as of this year. Now, I do not have physical copies of all of these books. I have some of them, but a lot of them I read on my Kindle through the public library. I'm a big public library person. Support your local public library. But I'm going to start with the best book I read in 2024. I actually have two. That might be cheating. I'm going to cheat a lot on these because I just love all these books. So, the first one is, I don't know if you can see that, Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I absolutely loved this book. I was a little scared to read it because I didn't know what I was walking into. But it's told from the point of view of 3 different people, and one of them is an octopus. It's about unlikely friendships, how much those friendships impact our lives. Gosh, I don't even know that I could put into words like how much I enjoyed this book, but you know, there's heartbreak, there's tension, there's revelations, all these different things. And you know, I particularly enjoyed the chapters from Marcellus's point of view. Marcellus is the octopus, and yeah, I mean, it's a book that I could read probably over and over and over and over. My second best book of 2024 was Night Road by Kristin Hannah. I love Kristin Hannah. Her books completely rip my heart out, stomp on it, and then put it back for the most part. But Night Road is about, it's got a lot of themes. Motherhood, forgiveness, finding your identity, hope. It also deals with loss. And it truly is one of those books that I knew something was going to happen, but I didn't know what it was. And when it did, yeah, literally like just rip my heart out and stomp on it and crush it into a million pieces. And it's kind of one of those books that for me, it was one that I had to keep reading. It was sad, but I had to keep reading because I wanted to find out like what happened next. And I wanted some resolution. And it was another one where a lot of times I read books and I'm like, oh my gosh, if you would just communicate. It was another one of those where I wish people would just talk to each other. But, you know, one of the main characters in this book is experiencing a lot of grief, and how she processes that, and it goes through all of that. And it's a remarkably well-written book, and I really enjoyed it. I actually stayed up until almost 2 a.m. finishing this book. So highly recommend. The next question is the best sequel you've read in 2024. And again, I have two. My first one, I have not read it yet, but I know it's going to be good, and I've been waiting for it. And that is The Waiting by Michael Connelly. I'm a big Michael Connelly fan. I've read all of the Bosch books. I've read all of the Lincoln Lawyer books. The Waiting is actually another character. It's Renee Ballard, but it ties into Harry Bosch. And so I'm very excited to read that. The one that I have actually read is Just for the Summer by Abby, I hope I say this right, Abby Jimenez. It's not really a sequel per se, but it's the third book in kind of a web of connected characters. And this was another book that I stayed up way too late finishing. I read it in probably 8 hours. But it was just so good. Another one that I had to figure out like what happens next. And again, if these people would just communicate, but I absolutely loved it. Another heart crusher. It's a serious book, but there's some fun. I love how Abby writes. She's just such a fun and engaging writer, and her funny isn't cheesy and it's not cringy, which is what I really appreciate about her. But that was a wonderful book that I did really enjoy, and the cover is so pretty. I've heard a lot of people say that the cover, what the cover looks like is not how the book feels, and to an extent I agree, but I think that the cover also represents a lot of hope and healing, which is kind of what I took away from it. There are some serious heavy topics. Child neglect is one of them. There is an incident with Alzheimer's, dementia. So that part is very brief. The child neglect kind of runs through the whole book. So just something to be aware of, which definitely does not relate to the cover, but overall, an excellent story, another excellent book by Abby, and I can't wait for her next one. She is probably one of my favorite authors. You can't see it, but I have a signed copy of Yours Truly on my shelf up here, because I just love her and her books. I've read all of them. So, highly would recommend Abby if you have not checked her out. All right, I have a couple of new releases that I haven't read yet, but I want to. And I wish I had this book to show you, but my first one is Sky Full of Elephants, and it is by, again, I hope I say this right, Sibo Campbell. If I don't, someone please correct me. But it's kind of a dystopian novel, and it's about what happens when almost every single white person in the U.S. suddenly decides to walk into the nearest body of water and drown. And a black man, is unexpectedly reunited with his daughter. And it's about their journey. And so I'm really excited to read that. I ordered it. It is going to be here Friday, which is tomorrow, but I did not want to wait to film this video because I actually have like makeup on and have my hair done. So I just decided to go with it. My next new release that I haven't read yet, but I want to, is The Night We Lost Him, Laura Dave. She also wrote The Last Thing He Told Me. And this book is about a man who has 3 ex-wives. His daughter, he passes away, and everyone's coming together to kind of unravel the mystery of his death. There's family secrets. It's a thriller. I really like thrillers, mystery, suspense type books. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. My last book that I am excited to read yet is The Last One at the Wedding. I think this is a fairly new release, like within the last, like this month maybe. But it is about a man who goes to attend his daughter's wedding, and they are estranged, and he discovers that no one in the town likes her fiance's family, and so he's determined to find out why. And that one was actually released October 8th, so it's about a week old. It's by Jason Rekulak. I don't know. Names are hard. But I'm excited to read that one too. Again, I love a good thriller. You might be sensing a theme in these books. Next, the most anticipated release for the second half of 2024. I'm doing this for the last quarter of 2024 since it's already October. The first one I already talked about it. It's The Waiting by Michael Connelly. I am very excited. I got that book from the library. I just checked it out, so I will be reading that this week. My second one is What the Wife Knew, and that is by Darby Kane. That comes out on December 10th, 2024. And again, another domestic thriller, and it's about a wife who is wondering and trying to figure out who killed her husband before she could do it. So that should be a good twist. And the third one is Afterlife by Gail Forman. And I'm cheating a little bit on this one because it doesn't come out until January 7th, 2025. But it is about a teenager who passes away, and 7 years later, she returns. Time has passed. She's still 17, and it's about how her return impacts everyone around her. So I'm really excited to read that one as well. Okay, so for my next question, my biggest disappointment of 2024, and I feel like I am going to not make any friends with this one, but I DNF'd, did not finish, A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm sorry, I just couldn't do it. And no, I'm not willing to try again. I think I got maybe 2 or 3 chapters in, and I was just like, this is not for me. I'm not a big like fantasy person. Which will come into play here in a minute, but I just couldn't do it. I'm sorry, I just couldn't. But I am going to attempt Throne of Glass, so we'll see how that one goes. I have ordered that one as well, so I'm going to give Sarah Moss a shot, but I can't do ACOTAR. It was just not my vibe. Here's where the fantasy comes back in again. My biggest surprise of 2024 was Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I have ordered the second one. I've talked about that in a previous video. And I started this book while I was in the Virgin Islands. Did not think I would like it. I made it, I think, to chapter 8 or 9. And I was just like, I don't think I'm going to finish this book. Which was sad to me because this was a recommendation from another YouTuber that I watch. And I really wanted to like it. So I put it down, I read something else, came back to this, picked it up, pushed through, and ended up loving this book. So this is about a woman named Lady. She's like 17, I think. Evangeline Fox. She's always believed in true love until she learns the love of her life will marry another. Desperate to stop the wedding, she strikes a deal with the charismatic, immortal Prince of Hearts and discovers that the bargaining with Prince of Hearts is a dangerous game. So, very, very good. I do recommend this book. The second one, this is a 3-series book. The second one is The Ballad of Never After. Again, I've talked about that. The third is A Curse for True Love. So, I need to read the second one. It's in... No spoilers. I need to read the second one. My second biggest surprise of 2024 was Mother-Daughter Murder Night by Nina Simon. And it's a murder mystery and family drama. And I wasn't sure I was going to like this book. I picked it up at a bookstore, I think, and I debated buying it, and I didn't end up getting it. So I decided I'll check it out at the library, see if I like it. And I really, really did. And it was, I would say it was kind of a little predictable, but it was entertaining. And yeah, I really liked it. I think this is another one that I stayed up and read it's a grandmother, a mother, and a daughter, and a murder mystery. There's a murder, and these three, really the granddaughter and the grandmother, turn into sleuths to try to figure out who committed this murder. And so it's entertaining from that angle. It's just some of the things that they do. And the grandmother is, I would say she's bougie, and the mother and the daughter live in a smaller town. Well, I don't want to give a whole lot of things away, but it's a really good book. It's very good. It's funny, and one that I really enjoyed and made me happy, obviously. I have two favorite new to me authors in 2024. First one is Kristin Hannah. So I've already mentioned The Night Road. I'm going to talk about another Kristin Hannah book in a minute. But the second was Benjamin Stevenson, and he wrote Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, and I'm currently reading Everyone on This Train is a Suspect. And these are so funny. When I first started the Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, I was like, I am not enjoying this writing style. I don't like it. It's weird. It's different than anything I've ever read, but I ended up absolutely loving that book. It is so funny, and his descriptions of things are hilarious. And there was a twist in that book, which I was not expecting, but this one I am about, I think I'm on chapter 14, and obviously I'm loving this one. All right, the next question is your newest fictional crush. And I'm going to book repeat, which I didn't want to do, but it's Justin from Just for the Summer. Talk about a golden retriever. He's complex, just like the other main character in the book, Emma, but he is kind, he's sweet, he's thoughtful, he's funny. He's like just my dream man. I read the book and I was like, why can't I meet a Justin? Like, where's my Justin? And yeah, he's just everything. So again, if I could recommend one book from this whole list, it's a tie, but Just for the Summer, just so you can meet Justin. And I think that says a lot. Keeping along the lines of characters, my newest favorite character is Henry from Red, White, and Royal Blue. I would say this is like a cult classic. One of my coworkers actually got me this for Boss's Day last year. He told me about it, and we kind of bonded over our love for this book, and it's so funny. But Henry is a prince, and yeah, I don't want to give too much away, but Henry, so sweet, so pure, such a kind soul, and his sense of humor. I love his sense of humor. It's just so funny. But this is really another great book. I really enjoyed this one. Next is a book that made me cry, and that is The Great Alone by Kristin Hannah. Another one of her books, I think all of her books are like this, but another book that was really heavy and deals with isolation, family dynamics, your first love, all of these different things, and it takes place in Alaska. So again, I don't want to give any spoilers. I feel like I'm not really like talking about like what the books are, but I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. But yeah, I really, it again, heavy topics. There's some violence and domestic violence in this book as well. So just a heads up, if you are interested in that book, that it does deal with some very heavy things. Changing gears to a book that made me happy, and again, I'm a book repeater, but it's red, white, and royal blue. This is the collector's edition, so it does have an extra chapter in it. The two characters in here are Alex and Henry. And so Alex is the son of the President of the United States. Henry is the Prince of Wales. And yeah, again, I don't want to talk too much. If you know this book, you know what I mean. It made me happy. I love it so much. But this book is the collector's edition, and if I didn't say this, maybe I did, but it has another chapter from Henry's point of view. Love this book so much. All right, my next book is Your Most Beautiful Book, and I'm gonna reach into my to be read pile for this one and say that this is my most beautiful book. This is Freshwater for Flowers, and I'm very excited to read this. This one is pretty long. It's over 400 pages, and it is about Violet Toussaint is the caretaker at a cemetery in a small town in a France place that I'm not going to, Italy maybe? I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm not going to. She has a routine. It's disrupted one day by the arrival of Julian, a police chief from out of town, who has come to scatter the ashes of his recently deceased mother on the gravesite of a complete stranger. And it soon becomes clear that Julian's inexplicable gesture is intertwined with Violet's own complicated past. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. This was another recommendation from Ellen Miller, who is I guess I would call her a bookish YouTuber, but she lives in the UK, and so she is, I think, planning on reading this or has read this, but I heard her talking about it, thought I would pick it up, but I think that this cover is just absolutely beautiful. So these questions I just kind of made up and added. 2 2024 rereads. First is Alas Babylon by Pat Frank, and this is a post-apocalyptic novel, and it was actually published originally, I think, back in the 60s, 1959. This particular copy that I have was reprinted in 2005, but I do really enjoy it. It's got some kind of survivalist vibes. Also kind of freaks me out a little bit thinking about like how fast society could collapse. But anyway, really good book. There is a lot of military talk, and so some of it is kind of difficult to get through, but it is a really good book. If post-apocalyptic novels are your thing, I would say like this is one of the OGs. Wrapping up this video with my books that are on my TBR by the end of the year. So I talked about a couple of them, but I have All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. And this is about a boy who saves a kidnapped girl, and then he disappears. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one. This is supposed to be a really great book. Next, I'm working through a reread of the Camino Island series by John Grisham. I finished Camino Island. This is the second book, Camino Ghosts. So I don't know if I'd call it a to be read, but it's a to be reread. I did read Camino Ghosts. It was my least favorite of the series. So this is actually my favorite because a hurricane hits Camino Island. So again, survivalist. Like, is this weird? Is it weird that I like all these survivalist books? Then I have In the Likely Event, Rebecca Yarros. I did not realize that this was the person who wrote Fourth Wing. I think that's the name. I don't know, I haven't read it, but didn't realize this was the same person. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. And this is about a girl who meets a man on a plane. Plane goes down in the river. Things change. And then a reunion, love, romance, all that. Talked about this, The Ballad of Never After, second book in, I think it's called the Broken Hearts series. Maybe it's not. Maybe I made that up. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. But anyway, this is the second book after Once Upon a Broken Heart. And then I have 2 more physical books. So I have The Librarian Spy, Madeline Martin. And this is about a woman who works at the Library of Congress. She gets an unexpected offer from the U.S. military to pose as a librarian working undercover as a spy. This is another book that I saw. I don't remember where I saw this recommended, but I just recently picked it up and I'm excited to read it. In Memoriam by Alice Wynne. And this is about Henry Gaunt and Sidney Elwood and the rest of their classmates. It's World War I, and I believe that they either get drafted or have to go to war. An epic tale of forbidden romance and devastating tragedy. So this one will probably rip my heart out and crush it too. Yay. Okay, everything else that that's on my TBR is on my Kindle. I use the app Libby through my public library. I'm working through the Alex Delaware series by Jonathan Kellerman. So let's see what else I have on my holds. I told myself I'm not going to put anything else on hold this year. I'm going to read what I have, and hopefully I can get these done by the end of the year, but I don't know. It's kind of a lot. So I have How to Solve Your Own Murder by Kristen Perrin. Perrin, I hope. The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. Turton? I don't know. I'm terrible with names. But I actually recently just read his book, The Last Murder at the End of the World. Liked it, didn't love it. But I am interested in this book. I have The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. The 5-Year Lie, Serena Bowen. One Perfect Couple, Ruth Ware. All the Missing Girls, Megan Miranda. Taylor Jenkins Reid, One True Loves. And then, of course, Throne of Glass, which I talked about. So, yeah. So that wraps up my video. I hope that you all enjoyed this, and please give me any book recommendations that you have. I would love to read them. I'll just add them to my ever-growing list. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them, and if we want to do a end-of-year book wrap-up or last quarter of the year wrap-up when I have finished reading, and we can talk about what I actually got through. One of my goals for 2025 is to be better about using Goodreads so that I can give better reviews, keep track of what I liked, what I didn't like. I don't love like the website version of Goodreads. I don't know. I don't love Goodreads, but I'm trying to do better. I want to do better about keeping it updated. So, on that note, if you also have any Goodread tips, let me know. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.